first fruits. That's how you know it's gonna be good when I got all the posties. This is a chapter by chapter Bible study series where we're waking up at 4 a.m. or as early as you can do. You don't have to do the study with me at 4 a.m. You can do it whenever you want to. The videos are always here. You can save them for later. You can read it at 5 p.m. and then come tomorrow and do it on your own time. All I know is we are here to ask for God's wisdom, similar to what Solomon does, and exactly what James 1:5 tells us, that if we ask for it, God gives it to us. Last chapter in 1 Kings 2, we basically see Solomon cleaning up the palace, cleaning out the people who don't support him in his reign and support God, putting in people that do support him. And then we also said goodbye to David because he died. Now let's get into chapter 3. Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, by marrying Pharaoh's daughter. Solomon brought her to the city of David until he finished building his palace, Lord's temple, and the wall surrounding Jerusalem. However, the people were sacrificing on the high places because until that time a temple for the Lord's name had not been built. Solomon loved the Lord by walking in the statutes of his father David, but he also sacrificed and burned incense on the high places. We have some early warning signs right here, right off the get-go. In Deuteronomy 7, God commands them to not intermarry. Do not marry people who do not have the same beliefs. Egyptians during those days, they believed in pagan gods, and so Solomon, although you would think that that would be a wise choice because you want to keep peace with Egypt, however, this may bite him in the butt later. It definitely bites him in the butt later. Another red flag is sacrificing in high places. Solomon loved the Lord by walking in the statutes of his father David, but he also sacrificed on the high places. In Deuteronomy 12, God tells him not to sacrifice in the high places at all, because that was the same place that they would sacrifice to Baal and Asherah. It was a pagan sacrificial site. Chapter 3, verse 3, it says Solomon loved the Lord by walking in the statutes of his father David. Solomon loved God, so he kept God's commands. He followed his father's statutes because of his love for God. The Bible also tells us if we love God, we will keep his commands. Just like if you love your parents, you will obey them, you will respect them. So Solomon went to Gibeon to sacrifice there because it was the most famous high place. Sometimes famous spots are not exactly for Christians. He offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar at Gibeon. The Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream at night. God said, "Ask, what should I give you?" And Solomon replied, "You have shown great and faithful love to your servant, my father David, because he walked before you in faithfulness, righteousness, and integrity. You have continued this great and faithful love for him by giving him a son to sit on his throne as it is today. Lord my God, you have now made your servant king in my father David's place, yet I am just a youth with no experience in leadership. Your servant is among your people you have chosen, a people too many to be numbered or counted. So give your servant a receptive heart to judge your people and to discern between good and evil, for who is able to judge this great people of yours?" Not only did God kind of offer him a blank check, like whatever you want, but I love that Solomon is so humble that he realizes he doesn't have experience in leadership. Think about all the experience David had. He was king in Judah before he was even king of Israel. He was going in the wilderness. He was fighting all these battles. He was learning to be a leader of a misfit army. He had all of this leadership experience. And Solomon, he's self-aware. He knows, I'm young, I don't really know what I'm doing. Humble way, he says, I don't have what it takes, God. Wisdom is knowing and discerning what is good to God and what is not good to God. He sees the importance of needing that and leading God's people. This is how God responds. Now it pleased the Lord that Solomon had requested this. So God said to him, "Because you have requested this and did not ask for a long life or riches for yourself or for the death of your enemies, but you asked for discernment for yourself to administer justice, I will Therefore, do what you have asked, but I will give you a wise and understanding heart, so that there has never been anyone like you before and never will be again. In addition, I will give you what you did not ask for, both riches and honor, so that no king will ever be an equal during your entire life. If you walk in my ways and keep my statutes and commands, just as your father David did, I will give you a long life. I understand why this would please God, his request, because he is asking for something that benefits the people more than it really benefits himself. It's a selfless request, and he wants to honor God and he wants to do right by God, but he also knows, I need you. In 14, there is a condition. If you walk in my ways and keep my statutes and commands, just as your father David did, I will give you a long life. So there is a condition to this from God. In 15, it says, Then Solomon woke up and realized it had been a dream. He went to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the Lord covenant, and offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then he held a feast for all his servants. So instead of going to the high place, he went where he was supposed to go. He stood before the ark of the Lord's covenant and offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings there. And here is a moment that made Solomon famous. These two prostitutes were living in a house together, just them. They each had a baby around the same time. One mother laid on her baby and the baby passed away. The other mother still had her baby. In the middle of the night, she claims to Solomon that the mother that laid on her baby, where her baby passed, she had switched babies with the mother whose baby was still alive. Now they come to King Solomon and are like, what do we do? This woman stole my baby. Well, no, you stole my baby. How he resolves this is he has them bring a sword, and he says, the living baby, let's just cut it in half, and you get a piece, and then you get a piece. The child's rightful mother had compassion in her heart and said, no, let her have the baby. The baby's better off alive. Well, the other woman who wasn't the mother said, yeah, let's cut him in half. No one should have the baby. King Solomon, he says, give the living baby to the first woman and don't kill him. She is his mother. All Israel heard about the judgment the king had given, and they stood in awe of the king because they saw that God's wisdom was in him to carry out justice. Solomon has humility at the start. God, I can't do this without you. And he was starting off not so well. The Lord was pleased with a selfless request from David for the people. Solomon saw that there was a need for wisdom in leadership, and we'll see where some of those early warnings end up taking us. I'll see you in the next 4 a.m. when we cover chapter 4. If you're watching this on a Saturday when I post it, remember that I do not post videos on Sunday, and whatever following chapter will be on the Monday. Thank you for watching. I'm so thankful for y'all.